where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who be caught up in using what I was called with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's your number one chief rocker Knicks universe. Your main man, Uncle Freezie, is in the building. Salute to the Lawrence Tears family. Salute everybody. Salute coming through to rock the spot. Coming through to rock the spot, man. We have a lot of stuff that we got to talk about, y'all. We have a lot of stuff that we have to talk about, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. Like, it's a lot of stuff. I didn't get a chance to rock with y'all on. I'm gonna change this layout, right? I didn't get a chance to rock with everybody on Saturday night. Y'all know I kind of try to keep the Saturday nights to myself. You know, at least have one day where I can, you know what I'm saying, recharge the batteries and everything. So, but y'all already know the vibe. We try to rock the other 6 nights. You know what I mean? Greg Hamilton is in the building. Salute. Fritz Alcindor is in the building. The King of Kings, Ribby RM, is in the building. Salute. Miguel P, what's happening? Daniel Berry Sports Highlights is in the building. Salute everybody. I should probably get right to it, right? Y'all want this party started right. Y'all want this party started quickly, right? Yeah, remember that from the Knicks Morning Drive? So, where do we begin? Do we start with the showdown against the Pistons? Right? Do we start with the showdown with the Detroit Pistons? Do we start with how terrible the perimeter defense looked against Philly, Atlanta, and San Antonio? Do we start with Mike Brown with the car salesman press conferences? Do we start with the underusage of Karl Anthony Towns? Do we start with the misuse of Mitchell Robinson? Do we start with how the kids are being deployed and why? Do we start with Jalen Brunson's terrible defense? Right. I'm going to ask you guys that. Y'all let me know where y'all like to begin, because I legit want to talk about all of it. I want to talk about all of it, right? Right. Y'all tell me where y'all want to begin, right? Because here's the thing. There are so many things to talk about, right? There are so many different things to talk about. There are so many items that deserve conversation and deep dive conversation too, not topical conversation. Right? Do we talk about topics or subjects? Like tonight, I don't think we talk about topics. I think we talk about subjects. Like legitimately, you know what? I'll start with the topic or the subject that matters most to me, and then y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm frustrated with the Mike Brown car wash, the Mike Brown car salesman press conferences. Right? Like I'm tired of after a frustrating loss, Mike Brown says stuff like, we don't get to the backside actions. The pace has been terrible, and we enter the front side actions and nothing's going on the backside. The pace is bad. The ball's not hopping. Mike Brown, you know exactly why those three or four things occurred. Drip more is in the building. Salute. Mike Brown, you know exactly why the ball's not hopping. You know exactly why the team is terrible in pace. You know exactly why we only get shots on the front side of an action. You know exactly why there's no backside action. You know exactly why the perimeter defense is terrible. Right? You know exactly why these things occur. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Karl Anthony Towns had a 40-point, 13-rebound game, and your butt didn't even make the seat warm before you called him out in your post-game press conference. Mike Brown was like, 40 points and 13 rebounds. What is that? Stars have to play at a different level and blah, blah, blah. He called Cat out for 40 points and 13 rebounds. But when the Knicks defense shut down everyone on the Spurs, shut down everyone on the Spurs from shooting three. I think everybody on the Spurs collectively were 5 for 24 from three-point land, except this one guy that went 11 for 14 from three. And one guy blew the assignment all night. And you didn't say a thing, Mike Brown. Mike Brown didn't say a thing. Silk Sutton in the building. Hey, Tendril Sound in the building. Salute. What's good? The thing is I understand nuance and PR and public speaking and leadership and all those things. Like, I understand that. Unfortunately, I've lived through it for about 30 years, about 30 something years. Unfortunately, I have to experience that, man. I have to experience that every day. Like the way you speak in a public setting, who to not upset, whose feathers to ruffle, and then whose feathers not to ruffle. I experience that every day. So I know the car wash. I know what the car wash is like. But the thing is if you could, what's good for the goose is supposed to be good for the gander. And I know life isn't fair. I understand that. Right? It's the reason why a young, handsome guy like myself has to work a 9 to 5 every day, and Jeff Bezos is a quadrillionaire. It's because life ain't fair. Listen, I already know. And I'm kidding everybody. For those that don't know me, I know I'm joking, right? But for real, it's the reason why guys like you and I have to go to a job every day and work as hard as we can, and then other guys are bajillionaires. Life ain't fair. It's not. That's one of those things we're not gonna change that. All right, life is not gonna start being fair, right? So I get it, right? But here's the thing: how do you call out Cat for his defense, and then you watch Julian Champagnie basically hit 8 threes from the same spot on the floor, and everyone knew where he wanted to shoot from? Now, he hit 11. He didn't hit all 11 from one spot, right? But he hit about 8 or 9 from the same spot on the floor, basically. But you didn't call out your point guard for perimeter defense, right? And the last 2 games, your starting point guard has been unfocused, not focused because of he's not getting foul calls. Your starting all-star level point guard has been distracted. Like, if he doesn't get a foul call early, he legit complains to the refs at the start of a game, and it just happens throughout the course of the game. They're blown defensive assignments. There are all these things. Now, here's the thing. I'm calling out Jalen Brunson and Mike Brown. I don't hate Jalen Brunson, and I don't hate Mike Brown. I always lose it because it's black. Oh man, everybody, I have so much black stuff on my desk, like my phone. I even have a black pick, so it's like on this desk, things that get lost in my vision or whatever. But yeah, so that was a distraction, kind of like Jalen Brunson. So I love Jalen Brunson, and in fact, I love Jalen Iverson. I don't mind Jalen Brunson being 3rd in the NBA in shots per game. I don't mind that. I like that. I wish Jalen Brunson would lead the league in shots per game. But like Endgame said, in context matters. Context matters, right? Context matters. If Jalen Brunson leads the NBA in shots, but everyone else gets to touch the ball, that's the perfect balance. Oh, I like that. Space-like awareness. It's not that life isn't fair. It's that most people don't want to invest in themselves and follow their godly purpose. I might steal that from you, but I'm letting you know that I might steal it from you, though. Right? I might borrow that from you, but at least I'm letting you know up front. Like, I'm not gonna just steal it and put my name on it. So when I say it, when I say it to someone else, I'm gonna be like, the great American poet, space-like awareness, once said, blah 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 blah. Right? All right. So here's the thing. Here's my thing. The Mike Brown interview post-game pressers are like a rock in my shoe, right? Because we know what the answers to the test are, but why are we not passing the test? If you know the answers to the test, why are you not passing the test? If Mike Brown said, in this post-game press conference, if Mike Brown said, you know what, against these teams, we tried a certain strategy. It didn't work. We made in-game adjustments. They didn't work. We'll try again next game. I would have totally bought into what he was saying. Because one of the things about leadership and how you know you have a great leader is, where is the finger pointing? Right? If that arm is always extended this way, then you have a corrupted leader. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to say a bad leader or an evil leader. Maybe something bled into the leadership that has the leadership gone astray. Right? Maybe somebody put some chocolate in the milk. Right? It's no longer a regular milk, it's chocolate milk now. Maybe that's what happened. Mike Brown also pointed out the lack of physicality. He also basically complained about the refs. He basically said, we are not physical enough. Other teams are physical with us and they play physically with us, so much so that we can't get into our actions. But when we play physically, we don't play physically enough on defense, is what he said. Right? I don't know if this is a thing in Knicks universe. I try not to watch other content creators as much as you guys do, because I like having my singular thoughts. Like, I like to have my own takeaways and think about how it is that I feel. And then that way, when I express it to you guys, it's 100% of what Uncle Freezie thinks. And I know sometimes that goes off the rails a little bit, because it may or may not be the consensus of what's happening in Knicks universe. But at the same time, it's 100% how I feel. The thing with Mike Brown, it's a rock in my shoe. He mentioned the term adversity. He said, every team is going to face adversity, right? Now, I'll tell you this. When you hear professionals use the term obstacles and adversity, either they have the solution in-house and are afraid to use it, or they don't have an answer. Either way, they don't have an answer. So the easiest way to relay a message, right, instead of saying, hey, we're trying to figure it out and give us time, we'll say things like, every team faces adversity. I don't think this team is facing adversity, right? I honestly believe this team is trying to figure out some stuff, and sometimes the steps we take in trying to figure it out, we fail at it. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, some of us tried fad diets. Some of us try fad exercise routines. Some of us go back to school. Some of us do try some type of self-improvement, and we don't always follow through. Sometimes we fail. There's nothing wrong in failing as long as you keep trying. But when we say stuff like adversity, you're making me think like, adversity? What adversity? What adversity do the Knicks have? They have a rich owner that's willing to pay. They have a front office that's hell-bent on winning a championship, right? They hired a new coach that thinks like them. The roster, for the most part, is a top 8 or 9 roster in the NBA. What adversity are you facing? It seems to me that that the Knicks are looking for an excuse. If you lost, you lost. You don't have adversity. You and Knicks fans know the reason why you lost. Anybody with eyes that saw the San Antonio game, that saw the Atlanta game, that saw the Sixers game, know the reasons why we lost. There is no adversity. You know what the answers are. You know what the answers are. The answers are, the answer or the issue is this. This current Mike Brown team, when they struggle, they want to revert back to the Tom Thibodeau style of play. Dorkosaurus Rex is in the building. Salute. This team knows they need to do things differently, but when they struggle, they revert back to old habits. That's basically where we are. Mike Brown basically told us in no uncertain terms that this team wants to revert back to the Tom Thibodeau ways. Drag the ball up the floor, don't share it, no backside actions. That's what they want to do offensively. They legit want to get into their comfort level or what's comfortable. They wanted to get back to what was comfortable. What's comfortable for the Knicks is Jalen Brunson slogging the ball up the floor, coming down, dribbling to one side of the floor, dribble, look for a shot, get in the paint. If it's not there, pass it back out. If the defense is denying him, live grenade it to Bridges, OG, or Cat with 3 seconds left and have them launch. That's where we are. That's what Mike Brown pointed out in the press conference. And if you see the Knicks, now don't misconstrue shots, the number of shots with pace, right? Don't misconstrue shots with pace, because I think the Knicks in their last game may have taken like 90 shots. Let me see. I think we may have taken 90 shots. I'm just going to double check for the record. Yeah, the Knicks took 89 shots, right? So the Knicks took 89 shots. The Sixers took 90 shots. Yeah, so when you don't turn the ball over, you tend to at times get to take more shots. And I think the Knicks only had, oh, wow, the Knicks had 16 turnovers. Wow. That's disgusting. Mike Brown, in these press conferences, man, if you call out Cat, bro, you got to call out Jalen Brunson. That's all I'm saying. There should not be a player on this roster that you can't say their name in the press conference without their feelings being hurt. Mike Brown, there should not be a world where you can call out Karl Anthony Towns, but you can't call out any other Knicks player. Because what that looks like to me is that you have a beef with Karl Anthony Towns. And chat, I'm gonna ask you this. Of all the negative comments that you've heard all year since Mike Brown has been here, have you heard Mike Brown say any Knicks player's name except Karl Anthony Towns? I'm asking the chat. Chat, I'm asking y'all a question. I'm asking you a direct question. Of all the negative comments you've heard Mike Brown all year say, just in general, have you heard anybody else's name except Karl Anthony Towns? Like, I legitimately have not heard Mike Brown call out Jalen Brunson for bad defense. Mike Brown got to the edge of calling out Jalen Brunson for bad defense and didn't do it. David Smith is in it. Yo, you must have heard me talking about Cat. That's how you got here. David Smith must have heard me talking about Cat. That's how he got here. Right? Legit, I'm kind of a little bit going to bat for Cat a little bit, and David Smith appeared out of the blue. Magic. Silk Sutton says, Brown has De'Aaron Fox PTSD. Don't call out your star player. You'll get fired. How do you call out Cat? Cat had a game where he got 40 points and 13 rebounds, and Mike Brown called him out. But then in a game where your perimeter defense is atrocious, 3 games in a row, you don't call out Jalen Brunson's name. Nick Yak is in the building. Salute. Dripmore says, Cat is low-hanging fruit. Everyone attacks Cat. He's our punching bag, for real, for real. Agreed. Agreed. Now, should he be? No. Is he? Yes. Franks is in the building. Salute. The thing about these pressers is, Mike Brown, we know what you're saying, right? We know what you're saying, right? we know you want to call out Jalen Brunson, right? But if you're telling me that everyone is going to be held accountable, right? No one is above reproach, right? If that is it, then why are we not calling out Jalen Brunson? Mike, when Karl Anthony Towns was complaining about foul calls and not getting back up the floor, Mike Brown called it out in a press conference. The last 2 games, and this is not statistical data, this is first-person eyewitness data that I'm exchanging with you right now. I saw with my own eyes Jalen Brunson complaining up the floor about foul calls, and Mike Brown didn't say a thing. Clearly, Jalen, and last night, and so was it last night? What did we play? We played last night, right? Yeah, so we played last night. We played Philly last night, right? Okay. When Jalen Brunson was called for the foul call where it was all ball, it clearly took Jalen Brunson out of rhythm for a while. It took Jalen Brunson out of rhythm for like a quarter and a half, maybe 2 quarters. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I feel you. This is a great comment. Brunson is able to do that because he's the captain. Mike is just a face. But about accountability, though. About accountability. Hey, Nick Yak, yo, come on, man. I mean, Nick Yak coming straight in the door, like trying to beef with me about Mitch. Nick Yak comes straight in the door wanting to beef with me about Mitch. I'm gonna have this conversation, right? I want to have that conversation, man. To be honest with you, I think there is something. So I spoke with 5 or 6 people about this, and everybody's opinion on it disturbed me. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I'm a fan of Mitchell Robinson and Mitchell Robinson, the person, but some of the feedback I heard through telephone calls was disturbing. So I'm going to talk about the Mitch and Embiid thing in a second. Yeah. This. Oh, yeah. This. Yeah. Yeah. So Frank says if we beat the Pistons, everything would be a lot better. Hey, Frank, I'm with you. What happens if we lose to the Pistons, though? All right. So, but what happens? What happens if we lose to the Pistons? Right. I think we're going to beat the Pistons, by the way. App in the building. Salute. One of the things I wanted to talk about, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about, which should be a talking point in Knicks universe. I don't know if it is. I'm going to have this conversation with you guys. I want you guys to join in too also. What are we going to do as a fan base? What are we going to do with Mikal Bridges? East Blue Drew in the building. Fritz Alcindor is sounding the alarm. Fritz Alcindor is like, hey, everybody, we're going to do a trade. We know. Fritz is like, a move is coming. Like, yeah, Fritz is sounding the alarm. Okay. Thank you. Fritz is sounding the alarm. The Bridges thing is concerning to me. Not that Mikal Bridges is having a bad season, because he's not. I think Bridges is 50, 40, 80. Right? Offensively, I think Bridges is 50, 40, 80. Yep, 51.2%, 40.3. Oh, he's 76% at the free throw line. That's still great, though. That's still great. What's concerning to me about Mikal Bridges is his scoring output over the years has been in decline since 2023. So 23, 24, 25, 26. His scoring output has been in decline. I think he's gone from 23 to 20 to 17 to now 16. Am I panicking that the Knicks may not have gotten the return on investment from Mikal Bridges that we anticipated that we were going to get when the rumors were that Mikal Bridges was on the way? Right? Before we had Mikal Bridges, the rumor was, and trust me, I know the rumors. I do a Knicks channel, so I know the rumors. The rumor was if you add it, the rumor was the Nova Boys are going to win you a championship. That was the rumor. The rumor was, you have Dante, you have Josh, you have Brunson. All you need is Bridges, and that would make everything A-okay. That's the missing piece. Mikal Bridges was the missing piece. Before we got Mikal, right? Before we got Mikal Bridges, Knicks fans thought Mikal Bridges was the missing piece to a championship team. Now, mind you, he's only been here a year and a half. And I'm not throwing Mikal Bridges under the bus. What I do think, though, is playing with a scoring machine point guard is more difficult than we anticipate. That's one of the things that I feel like is a very underrated, understated topic. I didn't expect Mikal Bridges to arrive in New York and be a 22-point per game scorer. Two-way wing, it's difficult for two-way wings to be that in the NBA and stay healthy. When it comes to two-way wings, there are three things you have to look at. With two-way wings, you have to look at, first and foremost, health. Can your elite two-way wing stay healthy? Because without that, all the other stuff is not even a conversation. Right? Can your two-way wing star on defense first and bring an accompanying offense to his game? Mikal Bridges is the Webster's Dictionary version of that. He stays healthy, he's great on defense, and he has an accompanying offensive package that's equivalent to a third NBA scorer. Tay in the building, salute. Hey, I got your point. I have a theory though, and so I have to point out certain things in order for the entire theorem to make sense on both sides of the equation, right? So for the theorem to actually make sense, I have to do it on both sides, right? So, but I got trust. My thing is with Mikal Bridges is I think on a nightly basis, he may be asked to do too much. I think Mikal Bridges is being asked to do too much. I think it's borderline impossible for Mikal Bridges to be your primary perimeter defender and be your third theoretical offensive player. I think this makes sense. The only I actually researched that before I started the show. The only thing I would add is that Jalen Brunson right now leads the New York Knicks in minutes per game. Your minutes per game leader for the New York Knicks is Jalen Brunson. But I agree with everything else. I want to get to that, just not in this moment though. Randall in the building. I think the answer to this, everybody, is going to be upsetting to some. To others, they may say it's about time. I think the answer to this is Deuce McBride has to start. I think your starting five has to be Brunson and Deuce, Bridges and OG, and Cat. And your bench should be Kolek, Clarkson, Josh, Mitch. Those are your 9. Those are your 9. When you want to get, I think Kolek has to be the backup point guard. I think Kolek has to be the backup point guard. And the reason why I say that is it's not an indictment on Josh, and it's not an indictment on Mitch, right? And it's not an indictment on Clarkson, Yabusele, or anyone. What it appears to be is that what Mike Brown wants to do versus the old habits of this Knicks team. That's what it is. Because the thing is, with Mitch is the starter, and I value Mitch, right? I'm the biggest Mitchell Robinson fan in here. But I'll keep it real, though. When you add Mitch and Cat together, you don't have what it takes to run. Since Josh Hart has been out, the Knicks aren't running. Is anyone willing to disagree with me with since the absence of Josh Hart, the Knicks are not running? Their pace has been terrible. I'm not blaming Mitch or Josh because they've been out. Right? They've been out. Right? Right? That's just what if you want to run, you have to have runners. Right? If you want to pick up the pace, you have to have pacers. The one player, here's the thing, and I know this is going to sound disrespectful, but the one Knick I felt like over the last 5 years that will follow orders to a T on this Knicks roster is Deuce McBride. The one player that will get his marching orders and follow those orders to a T is Deuce McBride. Hey, coach, you want us to run? Okay, every time I get it, I'm gone. You want me to do such and such? Okay, I'll do such and such. Now, am I saying the other guys just do what they want to do? No, that's not what I'm saying. Of course not. Don't take it out of context. Right? I don't want to have that thought taken out of context. I'm not saying that the other guys don't go by the game plan and are selfish. That's not what I'm saying. Right? The one guy I feel like puts team over self every time we see him is Deuce. Now, is that true? I mean, I'm only going by with what I'm going by what I see. I'm going by what I see, and I don't want to make up narratives, right? This is just my opinion. So if you spread the word, you know what I'm saying? If you spread the word, don't say Uncle Freezie, had a source that said, no, it's like my opinion, Uncle Freezie's opinion is this about Deuce. DJ Space Ghost in the building. Salute. Silk Sutton, what's happening? One Shot D in the building. Salute. I think Deuce has to be the starter, man. At least for a little bit. At least with Josh out. And the weird thing is, I think Deuce may have started against Atlanta or Philly. And we still face the same issue. So I may be wrong. So I may be wrong, but my basketball senses are telling me I'm right. I think we have to look at starting Deuce. But the accompanying point to that is I think we absolutely have to have Tyler Kolek be the backup point guard. We have to do it now. Tyler Kolek has to be the backup point guard. De La Cruz in the building. Salute. Franks, the only reason why I'm putting this on the screen is because it's Franks, right? Chat. Listen, y'all know I have a few topics and I try to stay on a thing in order to not go through like recycled topics, right, over and over. The only reason why I'm only even looking at this is because it's Franks, right? No disrespect to people that have this question, right? But Frank says, would you package Mikal, Hart, Deuce plus a pick or two for Giannis? No. Fritz Alcindor is right. I want to talk about Mitchell Robinson for a few minutes, right? Manchild in the building. Sherwin's in the building. Sherwin says, good evening. Freezie, one day you will wake up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming at me like that, Sherwin. I'll wake up. You want to fight? Does Sherwin want to fight? Sherwin says, Freezie, one day you'll wake up. All right. You got my attention. You got my attention. He says, Deuce will not help. We are paying. Wait a minute. Deuce will not help. We are paying Cat. He is performing like a $30 million player. Cat can score his complete game. What does that have to do with Deuce? What does that have to do with Deuce? Now I regret reading it. What does that have to do with Deuce? What does that have to do with Deuce? What does that have to do with Deuce? What does Uncle Freezie waking up and Karl Anthony Towns making $57 million have to do with Deuce McBride? What does that have to do with Deuce? What does this have to do with Deuce? Uncle Freezie waking up and Cat making $57 million. What does that have to do with Deuce? I'm waiting, y'all. What does that have to do with Deuce? Sherwin, what does that have to do with Deuce? The chat is waiting on your answer. Thousands of people will watch this video, right? Over the weeks, months, years, thousands of people will look at this video, right? Thousands of people are going to look at this video over the days, weeks, months, years. And they will all want to know, what does Uncle Freezie waking up and Cat making $57 million have to do with Deuce? What does that have to do with Deuce? I'll tell you the reason why I mentioned it, though. The reason why I mentioned Deuce as a starter is, if Deuce is the starter, Mikal Bridges doesn't have to be a point of attack defender for smaller guards, for one. Now Mikal Bridges can guard people more similar to his size. Mikal Bridges can now guard smaller wings. You have a smaller wing that guards smaller wings and a jumbo wing that guards jumbo wings. Case in point, the Boston Celtics, right? Deuce McBride guards their point guard or whoever initiates. Now Bridges can guard Jaylen Brown and OG can guard Jason Tatum. Nick Yak, stop stealing my. Nick Yak, I know you want to contribute. Nick Yak, I know you want to. Hey, you got to stop stealing. Okay, all right. Nick Yak legitimately is is stealing the thunder, right? Nick Yak is stealing my thunder. Listen, Nick Yak, you don't have to steal it. I'll give it to you. You don't have to steal it. Nick Yak says McBride averaging over 40% from three. I'm sorry, 44% this year, who plays defense at $4 million. if you can get, because the thing is, the difference between Deuce McBride and Josh Hart is Josh Hart is a bad defender that rebounds and gets you in transition. Deuce McBride is a good defender that is a willing shooter that shoots the three at 44% this year. Right? So while I'm not knocking Josh, I'm not knocking Josh, right? Right? JJ in the building, salute. I'm not knocking Josh because Josh is a quality NBA player. Deuce is a quality NBA player. But you saw the other night how bad your perimeter defense looked before a team even actually got into their sets. Right? In the Spurs game, one spot on the floor was left unattended, and it's because Jalen Brunson is not an average NBA defender. He's bad. Right? And even in Mike Brown's schemes where they run the Kobe defense, where if a guy, say for instance, I'm guarding Sherwin, right? But say Sherwin is a 80% right-handed driver, right? When I press on Sherwin, knowing Sherwin wants to go right, behind me is going to be Dorcosaurus Rex in that right-handed driving lane, forcing Sherwin to go left. That's to our advantage. At the same time, though, Dorcosaurus Rex has to keep an eye out for his guy on the perimeter and not let his guy get open looks from three. When Jalen Brunson does that, Jalen Brunson, instead of playing the Kobe defense, right, in that lane that Sherwin wants to drive, he comes all the way over to double team in the middle of the floor, and now you have a guy over here wide open. Brunson's defense is bad, and it's getting worse. In the Atlanta game, I saw him blame, or in the San Antonio game, I saw him blame Tyler Kolek for a Julian Champagnie 3, right? Tyler Kolek was this thing called Jeopardy, where Tyler Kolek is on the weak side of a play, and he's responsible for two players. And if he commits to one, then the defense rotates out to the guy he doesn't take. And what we saw was Jalen Brunson complaining to Tyler Kolek that he should have chose such and such guy. And Tyler Kolek is like, bro, there's 5 of us out here and 5 offensive players. Why am I guarding 2? Brunson has to be better. Brunson has to be better defensively. We can't say that Cat has to be better defensively and then not say that Brunson has to be Brunson, or ignore that Brunson and the other perimeter defensive guys are just letting guys bomb away. Right? Like, legitimately, we can't blame Mitchell Robinson for his defense last night against Embiid and then not mention that Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe did whatever they wanted last night. Right? Like to say that Mitchell Robinson got cooked last night and then not say that Jalen Brunson got cooked last night is laughable. Right? All right, so I'm gonna do this. Let me add this. I just want to get some of that stuff off my chest. Whether it's right or wrong, man, I just want to. That's just how I feel right now. If somebody educates me and I learn something, bro, I'm not afraid to learn nothing new. I ain't like that. Right. Right. So I spoke with 5 or 6 Knicks fans via telephone last night. Or no, like 4 or 5 last night and 1 or 2 today. And what I heard was disturbing. So during those phone calls, I was like, nah, this can't be real life. I'm going to talk to the chat. I'm going to talk to the chat about what y'all said. And y'all tell me. And so chat, I'm depending on y'all to set the record straight. Right? Chat, I'm depending on y'all to keep it a stack. Right? And this is a challenge. So if you feel challenged by me saying this, it's a challenge to you. Take it. Right? So if you feel like this is a challenge to you, like maybe Uncle Freezie is challenging my point of view about Mitchell Robinson, maybe I am. Right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll challenge you, but it's only like conversation. Like I'm not trying to like kick you out of a house or something. It's a conversational challenge. Fritz, what's good, bro?
Hey, what's going on?
So chat, here's the thing that I was told. This is the narrative behind the scenes. 1, Mitchell Robinson is coasting, trying to stay healthy for free agency. That's what I was told last night by a Knicks fan. Right? A Knicks fan legitimately told me that Mitchell Robinson wants to get the bag this summer because this might be his last time to get the bag. Right? That's number 1. Mitchell Robinson is coasting with the help of his agent in order to hit free agency healthy. Right? Now, mind you, these are not my thoughts. And the people that told me these things, I told them that I disagree, and I'm going to ask the chat when I get back to the chat. So if you're in the chat listening to this, this is what a fan told me, not my own thought. I think Mitchell Robinson has this thing called integrity.
Well, it's not up to him. It's not just up to him.
What do you mean?
I think it's the medical staff.
So you don't think it's his agent involved?
No, like if Mitch wants to get the bag, he should want to play more minutes.
Okay, agreed.
Like if I want to get paid like I am not only a starter, but an elite starter,
right?
I need to be playing starter minutes,
right?
At the same
and you
time,
need to put a bunch of great games on tape.
Yeah, not just showcasing me versus Wemby, not just I mean, it looks good. Like the way they've been playing, it kind of looks good. But man, when you get in them conversations, when they talk money, that's what they're gonna bring up. Like, were you injured or having a player out 3 games in a row? Talking about injury management. Are you hurt or not hurt? I mean, so if he wants that back, he should play more minutes.
So for the record, I think it's more nuanced than what we see on the surface.
No, I think
that's my thought, Fritz. That's my thought.
I think the medical staff are trying to get him to, hey, if he's gonna be here for the long haul, we're gonna make sure he gets there to the long haul, and we're gonna be extra cautious with it.
Right.
My thing is, after this run, I don't see a home for Mitch. I think they're gonna try to, if they trying to keep him to make a playoff run. Yeah, see you, Mitch.
You want Mitch out of here, bro. You want Mitch out of here.
I'm just like, you got
every Fritz take ends in Mitchell Robinson on another team.
No, but I'm just saying, if everybody's gonna treat him like the man, he gotta be the man though. Like,
right, yeah.
If you're compromised as a player, there's players like once they've had an injury, that's it. Like, if you're telling me that from this point on, at your age, that you can't play 30 minutes, that means you have a real injury. Like, you are compromised as an NBA player.
Agreed.
And that's not a good sign. If I gotta 15 minutes is cool early in the season, but then you gotta work up to 20, then you gotta work up to 25, then you gotta work up to 30. But I don't see any progression there. So to not see any progression, that just indicates to me the Knicks think you washed. They don't think going forward. Believe me, last year we thought he was coming back early in the season, and he didn't come back to January. Yeah, the Knicks. I don't think they're really sure. I think they're gonna. He's showing some elite skill. If we can give him 15 minutes, hold him out a lot of these games, and use him for the long haul, use him for the haul, we'll use him. But like, it's not looking good that they have like real trust in Mitch, that he's solid.
All right. So point number two that someone told me about Mitchell Robinson, right? This is point number two that someone told me about Mitchell Robinson. And this is not how I feel. This is how someone else feels. And they basically told me they don't care if I share this as long as I don't really, you know what I'm saying, put them on blast. Their point is Mitchell Robinson is lazy about his development. And it's the reason why you see that his defensive skills, offensive skills, and health have not developed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what someone else told me now. I totally disagree with that because I feel like Mitchell Robinson is a better defensive player now than he was when he first entered the league. I also feel like Mitchell Robinson's body is completely different than it was when he first entered the league. Like Mitchell Robinson, when entering the league, what he looked like then, right? Like he looked like Jackson Hayes then. Now he looks like a Rudy Gobert build type guy. Right? You could see the weight room and effort and behind the scenes work that Mitchell Robinson put in. Now, how does that translate to health? That's one of those things I just can't answer. I can't answer that.
He's playing lighter than he did before. Like this is Mitch slimming down than he was like a couple seasons ago.
Yeah. And Mitch at almost 300 pounds. Remember that? Mitch at 286. Remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I don't think Mitchell Robinson is a lazy player behind the scenes. I think the narrative with big men is crazy. Like the bigger you are as a person, the wilder narratives get. Right?
Yeah.
Like
I don't get where lazy comes from.
this is this person's opinion.
Nothing about Mitch says like lazy.
No, they're talking about behind the scenes lazy, not on the court lazy.
Oh, he had some inside information because when they asked him to bulk up, he bulked up. When they asked him to slim down, he slimmed down. Like maybe not the development of his game, but
yeah,
he's come in whatever shape they've asked him to come in. He's coming.
I think there may be an ounce of validity. I don't think there is. I think I would give it 99-1. I think it's 99%. No, Mitch is not lazy. But then there's this thing like, how do you get worse over your career at free throws, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you get worse at free throws? And I love Mitch. I'll challenge anybody in this chat about Mitch anytime. Yeah, anybody in this chat say anything negative about Mitch, you know I'm coming for your throat. Right? You already know I'm coming for your throat. The only people that like Mitch I'll come for them unprompted is the ones that act like Mitch is Kal-El, right? They act like Mitchell Robinson is Clark Kent. Now, those people I have a beef with, right? Because they act like Mitchell Robinson can lick his two fingers and put out the sun, right? Like legitimately, those type people I have a problem with, right? But for the Mitch supporters, the ones that make sense, right? I'm with them. I'm in that group, right? The ones that say Mitch can shoot 50% from three. If he wanted to, he just don't shoot. I got a problem with them. I think there, though, Fritz, my thing about the health and about the offense, I think there may be something to it. I just don't know what it is. So that's the reason why I don't want to speak to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick, I'm with you. I'm with you. This baffled me too. This baffled me. I don't know if it's anger that he didn't take it to Joel Embiid, or I don't know what it is. Right? You know how people have like these narratives that they hold on to. They wait for the right time. They wait for the perfect time to say something. They've been feeling it the whole time, but they just wait for a certain moment to say it. And I think this was their moment.
If Joel Embiid's healthy, there's no way Mitch can hang with Joel Embiid. Like that's ridiculous. I think people forget how good Joel Embiid is, but yeah.
Joel Embiid is a great player when healthy, right? Joel Embiid is probably a month or two away from being dominant again, right? He's got to remember he missed a lot of time. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid missed a lot of time, right? So he's probably super rusty still. But even super rusty Joel Embiid is still 25 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid at his peak is 32 points, 13 or 14 rebounds and great defense.
And lives at the line. Lives at the line.
Right.
And he's gonna foul. He's gonna rack up them fouls.
Right.
So
here's the other thing, Fritz. This is I think there are like 2 or 3 more. I just want to get to this one. I think I want to get to this one. Somebody basically said you can tell by Mitch's on-court body language that he don't want to be a Knick no more. Like he's tired of the Knicks holding him back. Right?
yeah,
So
I don't know anything about that.
basically somebody told me that Mitchell Robinson has checked out. Like he don't want to be here. Here's my thing. How do you battle 3 or 4 people for a basketball if you don't want to be here? Because checking out means that you lost some love for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because when you check out, when you're mentally checked out, that means you've lost some love for the thing that you do. Or at least that's my experience.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you ever been at work and you daydreaming? You ever daydreamed at work?
Yeah.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Get up and like got to convince yourself to go to work.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's definitely not Mitch.
Man, this again. Just like I listen to y'all's opinion and read the opinions in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like with me, I don't think Mitch is mentally checked out because I think he loves basketball too much. Because I think he loves basketball more than he loves being a Knick. And that's not a thing. That's not me finding him disrespectful. I just think that man put his heart and soul on the floor every time he played. And I think he'll do that regardless of what jersey he put on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. He has like he does have like a real pride in what he's done. You can see it like on social media, like he be posting on Facebook. And sometimes like some of them comments be getting to him. Like, you know what I mean? And he'll respond like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't call him lazy, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I think he really, I think he wants to get paid, but I don't think he's gonna dog it. Like that's not his style. I think if he wanted to go, he would go to management and say, "Hey, I want to be out of here."
All right, so I have one last one. It's good, and it made me laugh when I heard it. Right, I have one last one, and this one made me laugh. And chat, y'all tell me what y'all think. There is a slight thing. Basically, what I was told is that they think there is a old guard versus new guard thing. Everybody enjoys playing with each other, right? But there is a old guard versus new guard thing where the old guard was here when it was in the mud, and they helped get it out the mud, and they don't get credit because Jalen Brunson is here getting all the shine.
Who's that old
guard? Basically, there is a tinge of disrespect to Deuce and Mitch, who's been here throughout all this mess. Right? They were here. They were here at the same time Leon Rose. Like Mitch was here a year before Deuce was drafted by them. They were here like legitimately when it was in the mud, and they don't get credit for helping turn this thing around. Every time you turn around is Jalen Brunson this, Jalen Brunson that. What do you think about that? You think that could be a thing?
No. Everybody knows the leader gets the most credit. Like, no matter if it's deserved or undeserved, they're gonna get most of the credit.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I don't think Mitch has ever been more relevant than this year. Like, I don't think he's more celebrated than this year.
All right.
Like, there's always been a group that Mitch has always been in. And he's like, hey, him and these certain players, they're kind of in that same group. Mitch is like on his own this year. Like, there's Mitch in his offensive rebounds, and there's like, ain't nobody else in the NBA can do that.
Right.
He's definitely like separated himself, made a name for himself this year.
Okay. Of all the stuff that I heard, I think this is true. In my opinion, I think it's true. I think it's the human element, right? Like I've seen it at work. I've seen it with Lawrence Tears, like behind the scenes. I've seen it in organizations. I've seen it like in family. Like the person that is there first, that went through the most, feels like they should get credit for the turnaround. Right? Like, I'm not saying Mitch is saying the reason why we're championship contenders is because of me. What I'm saying though is I would understand if Mitch felt like he's the longest tenured Knick and all these new guys are coming in and getting credit over him. And a lot of those feelings may come when he's out injured and those guys are doing well without him. Like when Mitch was out due to injury and these guys were, going into these battles and such and doing all these different things and such and having success. And Mitchell Robinson is like, yeah, I was here when DeAndre Jordan and Dennis Smith Jr. was here. You feel me? Like I'm not saying it's envy. What I'm saying is when a person works so hard to contribute to a successful organization, and then every time you turn around, the microphone and accolades are given to someone else, I can understand on a human level how that might disrupt the apple cart a little bit.
I mean, but it's deserving himself though. Like,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you're.
I mean, like, I think Jalen Brunson gets a lot of like the NBA accolades,
Right.
just because he's a premier scorer in the NBA,
and he's clutch.
Yeah, I mean, if Mitch was more than a defensive player, yeah, I think he would get more flowers than he gets now.
Okay.
If Mitch was 15 and 10, he would be an all-star.
Okay. Okay.
So, but at the same time, like, he has sacrificed. Like, Jalen Brunson has taken the big pay cut. He's also taken a big pay cut.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't as, talked about on MSG. Talking about, hey, every game everybody talks about Jalen Brunson's pay cut. They don't talk about his pay cut like that.
Right. Right. I will say though, Jalen Brunson is probably a top 30 Knick of all time right now, based on because he's what in his fourth year. This is his fourth year, right? Knicks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is his fourth season, so
Mm-hmm.
I would feel comfortable saying Jalen Brunson is a top 30 all time New York Knick, right? Easy. Wherever you put him in your top 30, I don't care. I ain't get ready to argue with you whether he's 8th or 21st. I don't care, right? I know he's a top 30 Knick of all time, right? Right. I ain't get ready to argue with nobody over because it's everybody's opinion, right? He's in the top 30 somewhere. If you have him 8th or 21st, I don't care, right? What I will say though is if you're Mitch, I can understand how from a human level you go from all these bad coaches and all this stuff to this. I could understand, right? I could understand. One thing, Fritz, I gotta put a rock in your shoe, bro.
Yeah.
Chat, I gotta put a rock in y'all shoe. I gotta put a rock in y'all shoe. And this may be coincidence. This may be coincidence. This is my opinion, everybody. Right? This is my opinion. Right? It's not something I grabbed from anywhere else. Like not trying to take credit for anybody or whatever. I know in Knicks universe sometimes people will do that, right? I'm not gonna do that here. I'm gonna say this. I think when Mike Brown started playing the kids, the boat started getting rocky. Right? Does that, and when I say that, I don't mean that when Mike Brown started playing the kids, that the Knicks started losing. When Mike Brown started playing the kids, it's beyond coincidence that the Knicks are in close games all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And so the thing is do the kids lose us games? I'm not saying that. Do the kids win us games? I'm definitely not saying that. Right? But what I will say is we were not having these conversations before the kids started playing significant minutes. I'm not talking about throwaway minutes. I'm talking about in roles. Right? Now, here's the thing. I like this development path. I like the bridge path, the Yabusele to Diawara path. I like that. Right? I do. I like the Tyler Kolek, the Jordan Clarkson to Tyler Kolek path. I like that. Right? I do. Right? Do I believe Pakam Dadier should be playing also? Bruh, you can't play 12 dudes a night. Right? Right? However, I do find, like, I don't think a veteran-laden team loses to the Atlanta Hawks or the Sixers. But you got to play the kids. You got to play them. Because the thing is better, and I know this sounds weird, everyone, is better to develop and lose in December and January than to break glass in case of emergency and lose in May. That's my opinion. I think it's better for the kids and the team to take development lumps and lose now than to break glass in case of emergency in May, throw a guy in raw with no experience, and expect him to contribute.
Yeah.
Now,
we know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
And not only that, we know where these kids are at. Like, for real, not just watch them in Westchester and just kind of project. Well, I think he's kind of here in his development. I actually saw him play meaningful minutes in games that count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. In my opinion, and I stated this probably on 7 or 8 shows, right? But still, at the same time, you have to look at the results of these games. These two lines run parallel. The kids are playing more. The Knicks are at times looking lethargic. I don't know why that is. It's the reason why we do a show in order for us to talk. Right? These things run parallel. In my opinion, in the macro, I think it's more important to get these guys minutes, not only for April, May, and June, but for this playoff run in February, March, and April. At the same time, you only get 240 minutes. And in that 240 minutes, you have to divide that up between 8, 9, 10, 11 players. And the players that are accustomed to playing 36 minutes, when you cut their minutes to 34 minutes, even though it looks like 2 game minutes, guys are like, man, I don't think Bridges minds. I don't think other guys mind, but maybe that's one less rebound on their season stats. Maybe that's one less three-pointer, right? Maybe that's one less dunk. Maybe that's one less shot attempt. And so maybe their average goes from 17.1 points per game to 16.9 points per game. Right? Fritz, you see how I use technology right there?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between 17.1 and 16.9?
Yeah, 0.2. Nothing really.
Minimal, right?
Yeah.
Except for when you look at numbers, when you look at the box score, you're like, oh my God, he averaged 17 points a game. He used to average 16 points a game. There's got to be something to it, but you gotta play Pacom Dadier also, in my mind.
Yeah. I think the Knicks are just, we're seeing what they got.
Yeah.
Just seeing what you got. Like, you got decisions to make. I know a lot of people say, hey, you're just gonna make there's decisions to make in the next month, and there's decisions you need to make for next summer. Like, if you're informed, like,
right.
it's better to be informed than uninformed.
Right.
So I you know what I mean? Some people could take it how they want. I would like to see how this team would look like when Mitch ain't here.
When with what?
I would like to see how this team looks like if Mitch was injured or Mitch ain't here. Or what's our solution? Are we lost without Mitch? Are we lost without Cat? Or like,
So,
do we have a
he-
solution in house? Like,
but here's the thing. I understand your questions, but I think this is the most important question, though. Why? Why is it important to see? Why is it important to see the Knicks without Mitch or without Cat?
Because when you hit that, you can't be panicked when that happens, and you gotta win a game, and it happens. If you gotta win it and it happens, I ain't gonna be stressed because I've seen it before. I've seen it before, and you know what? We did this last time, and I probably could do a little better on this. That's how we gonna approach it.
Okay. All right. What about this? What about this? Are you interested in seeing what the Knicks look like without Jalen Brunson?
Yes. I need to know if Jalen Brunson, like last year, he missed those games right before the playoffs. Can I survive? Can I survive with Kolek and the guys, or do I need to shore up that spot before February? Do I need to get a veteran behind Kolek, or are we just rocking what we have right now?
I respect your stance on it. Yeah, I really respect your stance on it. I don't know if I agree totally. And it's not because I think you're wrong. It's because I don't know. My experience with teams losing their best players is that when a team loses their best player, they're not as good as they would be with that player in the lineup.
Yeah. Oh no, you're never gonna be as good. But is it passable? Can I relatively keep my spot in the East with what I have?
Okay.
Or does it fall apart?
Right.
And then you have people, but you
saying.
also have like Cat's nursing the injury all year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that quad injury.
Right.
I got to see what because down the stretch, Cat is gonna have to rest.
Right.
So is Diawara ready to take some of those minutes?
Some of which minutes though?
Is he ready to share? Like OG, could he be behind OG?
Okay, that's what I just needed for you to clarify, because if you were saying is Diawara ready to play center, no,
No,
Diawara ain't playing no center. Diawara is a guard. Diawara, that's why I was asking for you to clarify, because if you legit was saying Diawara at center, I was gonna jump out the window, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But if you're if you're saying that can Huck Porty and Diawara split the Cat minutes? While I don't agree, I understand the line of questioning. Right, I do understand the line of questioning. Like, can you, can you get? Because it's like asking if Wendy's takeout can suffice if you can't get into Peter Luger, right? Yeah, it can suffice. You don't want to constantly do that though. Not yet. Not yet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What I will say though is life without if you saw the Hawks game, that's life without Cat.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Right? If you saw the Hawks game, that's life without Cat. Right? I personally don't want to have a Knicks existence without Karl Anthony Towns on the roster. Like I don't want to live with a Cat is such and such and such. Cat is out for 3 months. I don't want to live with that scenario because you'll still be paying his salary, and yet you'll be getting you'll be getting his salary, yet you'll be paying his salary, yet you won't get nearly the production, gravity, or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Hey man, that's all I got, bro. I felt like I emptied the tank, but I still have a little spiral notepad of a bunch of stuff over here. Like chat.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I emptied the tank, but I have a notepad over here. I have a question that I want to ask y'all. I'll just ask it now, but I'll get the answer later. How do y'all feel now about the Mikal Bridges trade, knowing all you gave up to get Mikal Bridges? Does the payment for Mikal Bridges equal the production and value of Mikal Bridges? I don't need your answer right now, everybody. We'll play Detroit tomorrow. A lot of things are going to happen between now and that Detroit game, I imagine. Some guys are not gonna lie to you. January 15th is gonna be a day. January 15th is gonna be a day, everybody.
Okay,
So,
when he's eligible. Well, I think.
Hey, can we save it for next time?
Yeah, we can save it for next time. Tomorrow's a key day too. So 10 days. So I don't know. Tomorrow's the day. I thought the Knicks would make at least in the G League, maybe getting rid of one of the G Leaguers. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, bro. Yeah, we'll see. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for coming through and rocking. Peace, everybody.